According to Merriam-Webster, the word legacy can be defined as something transmitted by or received from an ancestor or predecessor or from the past. The Washington Redskins are a football team with a grand legacy. They have a large history full of triumph and defeat. However, this legacy is due in large part to their name, which has been called into question by a few minor splinter groups in the past for being slightly offensive. However, the Washington Redskins should not change their name because the name does not offend most Native Americans. Dan Snyder, the owner of the Washington Redskins, refuses to change the name, so it's a moot point, and changing the name would be a slippery slope. In short, a majority of people are unaffected by the Redskins name, excuse me. Um, let's begin with the most important point. Although the name initially seems offensive, what do American Indians actually think about it? According to Alex Hill, a writer for College at Times, I am not a homosexual, African American, or mentally handicapped, but I would never entertain the thought of uttering these monstrous terms that are often used in reference to these groups. Every race has a degrading slang term cast out on them that has been stricken from everyday vocabulary. Why do we cringe when these horrendous names are spoken, while the term redskin remains in some Native Americans find it to be offensive? As he says, who am I to determine what's offensive and what isn't? I'm just a white kid. You know, we should leave it to the Native Americans to say if it's offensive or if it isn't offensive. However, the problem of this becomes one of projection. You know, white people like me believe that the term redskin should inherently be offensive to Native Americans, so they project that onto them and make a big case out of it. They don't stop to think what American Indians actually think. A Sports Illustrated poll that was recently taken said that up to 75% of American Indians are completely unoffended by the name Redskins, and up to 83% believed that professional teams shouldn't stop using Native American names, mascots, characters, and symbols. As a matter of fact, many of the white activists and the Native American activists, are misguided and disconnected from the general public's opinion and the Native Americans' opinion. In that same article, Alex Hill went on to say, I understand that the word may be hurtful to some. However, the connotation underlying the word is far from derogatory. The fierce loyalty and the reverence displayed by supporters could not be further from disrespectful to the Native American citizens and their culture. And most Native Americans tend to agree. Most Native Americans actually like the name Redskins. And even if the name was offensive, the team's owner refuses to change the name anyhow. So it's a moot point, and he makes a good argument. Um, the owner, Dan Snyder, refuses to change the name. He said to USA Today recently, we will never change the name. It's simple. Never. You can use all caps. Because of Snyder's respect of the history of the team, he refuses to change the name. In a later letter that he wrote to fans, he said, our franchise has a great history, tradition, and legacy representing our proud alumni and literally tens of millions of loyal fans worldwide. We have participated in some of the greatest games in NFL history. We have won 5 world championships. We are a proud team and the passion of our loyal fans. Our fans sing Hail to the Redskins in celebration at every Redskins game. They speak proudly of Redskins Nation in honor of a sports team they love. I respect the opinions of those who disagree. I want them to know that I do hear them, and I will continue to listen and learn. But we cannot ignore our 81-year history or the strong feelings of most of our fans as well as Native Americans throughout the country. After 81 years, the term Redskins continues to hold the memories and meaning of where we came from, who we are, and what we want to be in the years to come. And the team name wasn't initially called Redskins to be inflammatory. The team name was actually meant in respect. The original Redskins team that was created in 1933 had 4 Native American players on it and an American Indian head coach, which is why it was called the Redskins. It was called the Redskins to respect those players and that coach. It was named in honor of them. And anyway, because of Snyder's stubbornness, it's pointless to argue about the name because it isn't going to change under his ownership. Besides, even if the name did change, people failed to consider the repercussions. Changing the name would be a slippery slope. bored, rich white people will always find something to be offended about. We can look throughout history and see that. Looking through the list of NFL names, there are a ton of people that could find themselves being offended if it meant all the media attention that the Redskins offended people um, are getting. Not that the current protesters have ill intentions. I'm just saying that people with ill intentions could use this and feed off of it. I mean, just look at the NFL names. The Kansas City Chiefs could be attacked by protesters. The FFA could rally against the Dallas Cowboys. People with Scandinavian ancestors could find themselves upset at the Minnesota Vikings. Catholics could rebel against the New Orleans Saints for being sacrilegious. I mean, imagine the heyday that PETA could have with all the animal names. I mean, look, for me, it all boils down to the time actual football is being discussed on ESPN. It may seem bad now with all the Washington Redskins protesters and the endless discussion there, but if PTA moms want to get a bit of screen time and end up on SportsCenter to discuss how the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Oakland Raiders need to change their names because they protest or they promote criminal behavior, and I don't get to see replays of the amazing Patriots comeback against the Browns, I'm going to be pretty infuriated. So we need to nip the problem at the bud while we still can. So, in short, the Redskins should not change their name because the vast majority of Native Americans aren't offended by it, because Dan Snyder refuses to change it anyway, and because it will allow for more football to be on ESPN in the long run. Besides, with the terrible season that Redskins are having, they definitely need their legacy to support them so they can retain any fan base at all.